What's up, guys? So today I start taking the engine out of the MR2. So right now I'm prepping before Alan gets home, so that all the wiring and all that stuff is through the firewall in the rear, and then we take off all the small things that I still need. Getting the wheels off. The car's already jacked up. The knuckles and all that stuff might be off today as well. I'm gonna start by taking the exhaust off and all that stuff in the rear, and right now I'm gonna try and do time lapse. So I'm gonna mount the camera up and then I'm gonna start that. So cool. Hey, what's up, guys? I thought I'd stop that time lapse to give you guys a little bit of information on something that I was curious, or I wanted to do a while back when I was still in A on the 5S. I saw a lot of people delete their unit, their actual mechanical unit for the what is it called, the cruise control. So I've seen a lot of people try and do it, and not really what I wanted, I guess. I had a problem where the cable, let me see if I can find it here, right here. So this cable that goes there on that mechanism, or I don't know what to call it, goes to the throttle body, which ends up being on this side, on the NA, on the 5S. And it breaks. You can see there, this one's breaking as well. They all break, and I used to have a problem. My car would rev really high because it wasn't broken here. I couldn't see it breaking. It was somewhere along here where it was breaking. So the problem was that my car would rev very high, and I just thought my 5S was fucking up, and I drove it like that for about 2 years, and then I decided to actually delete that and see what I could do. So I deleted it, and then I ran the throttle cable. I deleted the whole unit. I didn't know there was another throttle cable, so once I figured that out, then I ran the throttle cable straight into the intake, and yeah, that really helped out. So on the NAs, you might have to get underneath there, and then I'll pull the cable more from the actual pedal, and then bring it out more to actually get it to function the way this is working now. But on the NAs, this wire or cable is already longer, so you wouldn't have to. I just ran it. It was here, and then it's tied up back there somewhere. Yeah, you can't see. I think it's right here. But yeah, I just ran it here. Obviously, it's not the way it needs to be. I just forced it in there right now, but it sits like that, and then like that you delete the whole cruise control unit, which ends up sitting here, making the engine bay look a lot cleaner. And that's what I'm gonna end up doing for Alan, since he already doesn't have cruise control in his steering wheel. I don't think any of my friends do, and it looks a lot cleaner and it looks a lot better. So just thought I'd give you guys a little piece of information there. And yeah, so I'm gonna get the camera charged. I'm gonna keep working while the camera's charging, and then I'll do another time lapse or update or whatever. I'm practically already done on this side of the car. I need to get on that side, and then yeah, so it shouldn't take too long. I'll be back. Alright, guys, so on the last clip that I filmed, I did a little time lapse, and then that little suggestion on the throttle cable. So, oh crap. So right now I have the car jacked up from the rear, and I'm taking the exhaust off so I can start dropping the engine. There it is. I took everything out off the sides, and then I need to work on that firewall. But first I need to get that exhaust off because I'm already down there. I had dropped a few things on there, so I kind of had to go down there anyway. And then jacking up the car like this allowed me to drain the rest of the coolant, and that's out. I took off the radiator and the air condenser, so that's out. And right now I need to work on the exhaust and the downpipe, and that little mid pipe in between. So that's what I'm doing now. And then as soon as Alan said he'll be here in an hour, so as soon as that's done, I'll take the wheels off and unhook the axles, and then we'll drop this thing today. I didn't think it was gonna be that easy, but yeah, I need to pass the wiring harness through the firewall onto this side, and then all of this, the ECU and then the relays and all that stuff need to come out through this firewall and then into there, so when we drop the engine we don't have to disconnect anything off of the actual engine. It'll just be kind of plug and play into Alan's car, and it'll be easier that way for us. I've never done a engine swap. He has, but I thought this would be a lot easier on both of us and a lot faster, seeing as how this engine's pretty healthy, and it doesn't leak any oil. I already checked the hole underneath, and then as soon as we get the engine out, we'll check everything and then power wash the engine block and then throw everything back together. The only thing that I am concerned about, and I didn't know this, was there's oil coming from the breather here into here, and then there's oil going into the actual intake piping that was here, the red silicone hose. So there's oil all over that, the turbo and the inlet here, where you can see that. So from what I've heard, I've never seen this online or spoken to other people about it, but from what Alan said is that it's common on turbo cars. So my car doesn't have that issue. I have a filter on that breather on the Gen 4, so I don't have that problem. But the problem that I do have is that when I do my oil change, it's not as much as it should be, and I've noticed that all the time. So every time that I do the oil change, I notice that it's not enough oil. I'm not missing a lot, like enough to like mess up my engine, but I do notice that it is a little bit less than what I should have in there. So my suggestion to Alan and to myself is to get a catch can, so that like that it just keeps going back into the oil pan, and like that we don't keep dropping oil or having oil go into our intake, which I don't think would be a problem. But yeah, I'm gonna mount the camera up, and then I'm gonna time lapse as much as I can, because that's something I've been wanting to do, but my camera dies really fast. So yeah, I'm gonna get to it. Alright guys, so right now I have the cross member just dangling there. I loosened up the two bolts that are holding the A-arms, or I guess they're not A-arms on this car, but those arms there on the bottom to the knuckles. That's the only thing holding it on right now. I'm debating about either taking the whole cross member off right now and not being able to move the car again, or leaving it on, bolting some of this back up, and then the toe arms back in so that we can move the car forward as soon as Alan gets here, and then drop the engine. But that's what I'm debating on right now. It wouldn't be a bad idea. I already have everything disassembled and I'm ready to come off. The only thing that was stopping me was my impact died, so that's what I'm waiting on right now. But as soon as that's back up, or back to fully charged, I'll proceed to getting this cross member either off or bolting it back on. More than likely back on, because Alan's already on his way. I need to go back home and grab the dolly so we can drop the engine on there, and then that'll be it. So I'll be back as soon as something starts happening. Right now the sun is setting, so I'm gonna try and get some lights out here so we can drop the engine in a little bit. But Alan got home and he's helping me get the knuckles off. Well, not really off, we're just I don't have the correct socket to get the what's it called?
The axle nut?
The axle nut right here. Oh fuck, you can't even see, that's so dark. So the axle nut I can't get off because I don't have a big enough socket. And then, oh crap. And then so I'm gonna try and get some lights out here, but we're gonna drop the engine with the knuckles on there and the axles and everything and the trans. So that's what the car looks like right now, and there's just parts everywhere right now. But I'm gonna try and clean this up so we can actually get all of this situated and get the hoist out here and stuff. But if I don't get any lights, I guess I'll just continue the video tomorrow and you guys won't be able to see when we drop the engine. But I wish I could get that footage, so I'm gonna try really hard right now, and if not, then I'll just go home and pick up my lights. Cool. Alright guys, so on the last clip, Alan was working on that hub over there. Fuck, the lights are probably like blinding the camera. And I was heading home to grab some lights. Luckily Alan had those two and they both worked. Well, one of them needed a bulb, and then I had that one right there at home, so I brought that over, and now it's pretty good out here, so hopefully the camera picks that up pretty well. And then I'll probably mount it back here somewhere while we drop the engine. And right now we're just gonna set up and clean up all this stuff that's on the ground, and then we'll get started. So hopefully tonight the engine's out, and then tomorrow I can show more into detail what this car looks like after being gutted everywhere. Cool. Alright guys, so we got the wiring harness completely disconnected from the engine, or somewhat, and then the body harness is just dangling here for right now. So everything else is disconnected along the firewall here, and then on this side everything else is disconnected from what we can see. We'll have to wait and actually start dropping the engine right now to figure out what else we need to disconnect. But right now we're gonna go underneath. I know we have one more coolant line, and I think that should be it. I needed to get the engine mount from the firewall. The engine mount closest to the firewall needs to be disconnected or unbolted right now, and then the rear that was on the subframe I already did. So that's done, and then we got both nuts off of the side engine mounts, the left and the right, and then we'll bring up the engine a little bit and then take the bolts out and then drop it. So if all goes well, it should come out right now. If not, then I'll keep updating on what problems we keep having. Cool, let me mount the camera up and then I'm gonna start time lapse. Alright guys, I don't know how well you can see me or if my face is like filthy right now, because it's always dirty on every video that I make. Nobody ever tells me shit. I'm embarrassed in editing, but here is the Gen 2. That time lapse is pretty long, probably. It didn't take long to get it out. What took long was actually finding a way to get it out, because the engine hoist that Alan has maxed out at a very low point, so we had to think of something else to do without the engine actually falling over. So as of right now, it's out because of the little ghetto rig that we had to kind of perform. So here's the Gen 2 and the trans all together with the axles. We had no issues getting it off. The only issue that we had was that I forgot to disconnect the what is it, the RPM, the manual RPM cable that goes into the trans. But that was easy. You just unscrew the top and then it just falls out. So that was pretty cool. And then yeah, everything, all the other wiring harnesses and stuff, because there's two, there's a body harness and the one for the ECU, that we disconnected and got it all through. So that's done. Right now it's like what, like 11:40?
No, it's already 12.
Oh shit, coolant. So that's done, and that's gonna be the episode for tonight. And then tomorrow morning I'll be back to get the rest of the stuff off of the car, and I'll actually call Ecology or Pick Your Part to come and pick up the car. But other than that, we are done with this MR2. And probably tomorrow I won't do an episode or a video on that, because pretty much it's nothing. It's just getting the wheels off and then that's it. Oh, and the brakes. But I mean, that's no, I really don't want to film something like that. So that's gonna be it for this video, and then I'll be back probably next week with another video of us taking the 5S out of Alan's car. So that should be fun. That should be a lot easier now that we took this one out. It should be a lot faster. And then getting this one in the same day. So stay tuned if you guys like it, like the video, and comment and subscribe if you guys have any questions, if you guys are doing stuff like this at home. And don't be scared to DM me on IG, or yeah, I reply to almost everything that I get, unless it's hate comment, then I really don't care. So peace.